These are the motorcycle gadgets and accessories that I've been using over the last year that have really impressed me. No sponsors, no affiliate links, just honest, unbiased opinions. So this is what I reckon could make 2025 an even better biking year for you. And with ideas from just £7, there should be something for everyone. Right, let's dive straight in, and if you see something in here that you want to drop a hint for, why not share the video with a timestamp? If there's even just one thing in here you fancy, please do punch that like button as it helps the algorithm and it makes me smile. Last year's video kicked off with maintenance charges and a pretty detailed explanation of what to look for. I'll link that up here as there's lots in it that you might want, with some of them costing as little as £40 for lead acid and lithium charging. But if you're even slightly as geeky as me, you'll want to know about this, the Optimate PRO-1 Duo. It's designed for professionals and serious DIY mechanics and is pretty much the flagship charger. It can put out up to 10 amps, so it's great for big car and leisure batteries up to 50 amp hours, making it much more versatile than some of the smaller chargers that are only really intended for motorcycles. Of course, it automatically regulates its current output, so it'll work with lead acid batteries right down to just 3 amp hour, and it'll charge lithium packs too from 2 to 20 amp hour. It'll wake up lithium battery monitor systems too, so if they've shut themselves down, this can get them going again. Now, obviously, it's also a top-end maintenance charger, carefully monitoring your battery state. I just leave my bike plugged into it when it's not being used, so it's always ready to go. And modern motorbikes often have some parasitic drain, especially if they have a tracker, so a maintenance charger can save you a lot of hassle. It's properly sealed inside, comes with quality crocodile clips and SAE connectors, plus it has a supply mode, which is great if you ever need to do any diagnostics on a bike, or you're just testing accessories you've fitted, as it keeps a steady 13.6 volts at up to 8 amps. For me, it's ideal when I'm using the Hex GS-911, which is how I've got the full sport dash on my 2019 GS, and how I set 3 levels for the heated grips instead of the usual 2. Now, I've covered the GS-911, which also lets me do full diagnostics and troubleshooting, as well as reset service intervals if I do the work myself, but it's brilliant if you own a BMW, and there are new features being added constantly. Now, Hex also makes the ezCAN, which gives fully customizable power distribution for accessories, letting you control things far more than you can with just a normal fuse box. And that's now available for Aprilia, BMW, Ducati, Harley, Honda, Husqvarna, KTM, Triumph, and Yamaha. Now, using a power distributor means you don't have to touch your bike's original wiring loom, which is especially good on modern stuff with CAN bus. I've been using these Oxford auxiliary lights on the Zontes because the standard headlight is so rubbish. They're IPX7 waterproof and have made a massive difference for me this year. I've got Denali's on my GS, which are excellent, but I've been really impressed with the Oxfords. Now, another Oxford product is this heated seat pad. Now, I only got this 2 days before scripting this video, but I used it on a 160-mile ride between -2 and 0 degrees C, and it was really hot. To be honest, it was too hot in the top 2 modes, but in the minimum, it was very warm for the whole ride. I actually had to stand up occasionally to let some of the heat out. And I've been using it on the Zontes, but I know my wife Helen is going to want it on the pillion seat of the GS because she gets the rage when she's cold, and loved the heated seat on the R1300 GS we borrowed for this video up here. Now, I would say that the controller on this is a bit fiddly as you can't see it when you're riding, but it does strap securely onto the seat, so can't be easily pinched. And the non-slip coating on both sides keeps it properly in place. Now, this quick one is this SW Motech Adventure Rack, and it came with my bike when I bought it secondhand. Honestly, I could never work out why this was on there instead of a Chigee rack until we tested the 1300. Now, Helen was comfier on the newer bike, and we realised that she was a bit cramped on ours. I figured it was this rack, which can be fitted with adapters to take SW Motech, Chigee, Krauser, Shad or Sysbag luggage, so I bought a proper Chigee rack, expecting that to be set further back. It wasn't. In fact, the Chigee one's slightly further forward, so even more cramped. I was able to return that, but while comparing it with the SW Motech one that was on there, I realised that there were 2 different mounting points on this one. I've moved it back now and Helen's got loads more room. If your pillion's not got enough space on a GS, this is well worth checking out. I'll put links to all the reviews in the description. If I haven't finished a written review yet, I'll pop a link to the product in, but remember, they're not affiliate links. It makes no odds to me at all if you buy any of this stuff, because I'm paid by Bennett's to make content that hopefully you enjoy and that raises awareness of our brand with things like this watermark or the little section breaks. A lot of the written and video stuff I do is normally pretty serious, like the best airbags video up here. So I like doing more light-hearted stuff like this sometimes. The point is though that this video is to help you get more from motorcycling, which is exactly what Bennett's is all about. With its UK call and claim centres, more than 90 years of experience, common modifications included as standard, and free Bike Social membership when you buy your motorbike insurance direct. There's hundreds of discounts, competitions and money can't buy experiences on there, so check it out at bikesocial.co.uk/join. Right, you probably noticed the VFR up in the air over here. The shock packed up on it, so it's back with Hagon being serviced. Anyway, it's on what is one of the best workshop tools any motorcyclist could have, the Abba Skylift. I've had this for 6 years now, and it's lifted everything from a Grom to a Nikon. I can get the bike up in the air to work on it, or I can push it out of the way when I need the room, like now. I picked up this new accessory from Abba at the Motorcycle Live Show too. It's a Skylift storage system which puts everything neatly in one place. If you've got a Skylift, it's well handy. And if you don't have a Skylift yet, I definitely recommend you get one. Something else you might notice is these labels on the video showing what camera I'm using. The main camera is my Canon XT70, but I'm also using the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 over here and the Osmo Action 4 over here. Oh, and I've got the X4 on up here. I put these labels on my videos, so if you're thinking about buying an action camera, you can see how they perform. Now this year, I've been using all of them. The X4 is brilliant if you want to record everything, then edit the video later. It's best in bright sunlight. It struggles a little bit in low light sometimes, but the single lens action cameras do give better quality if you know what angle you want. Of the two, the Ace Pro 2 has brilliant low light performance. The flip up screen is great for composing shots, and the 8K resolution lets me punch in closer during editing. I did have this one missed up inside the lens cover once while shooting 8K on a tripod on a very damp day, but taking the cover off cleared it straight away, and I only had it happen once. And one thing to note is if you want to do vlogging with it on your lid, plugging a mic into the USB port means the SD card is exposed, so that's not ideal. I've not tried the new DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro, but the 4 is still excellent. It's more compact than the Ace Pro 2, and the front screen is really handy when the camera's tucked in a tight spot and you can't flip the back up. Picture quality is great, but the Ace Pro 2 has the edge. A neat feature of the X4 and the Ace Pro 2 is that you can set aside a specific portion of the memory card for dashcam loop recording, which leaves another area free for specific bits you want to shoot. Do check out the written reviews if you're thinking of getting an action camera, as they'll hopefully help you decide what's best for you. And if you're a BMW rider looking to get a 360 camera, check out the limited edition X4 that's branded up with the BMW Motorrad graphics and also has a cool stats overlay with the same styling as the bikes. And if you've already got one of these cameras, again, check out the reviews because I've got a lot of detail of some really useful accessories that are definitely worth having. Last year I talked about Quad Lock and SP Connect, but this year I've been using Peak Design. Now the mount for these is awesome as the phone just clips straight on, upright or horizontal, and it's totally secure when it's on there. Only thing is, my Google Pixel 7 Pro has a rounded glass back, and when I dropped my phone, it cracked in this case. Now I can't say that it was the case's fault, but it is thinner on the back than the others. On the other hand, it's also a lot nicer to hold. Now after about 6 months, the fabric peeled at one corner, but I contacted customer services and a new one was sent out, no questions asked. Seems they're true to their word. Now there's a new range of wireless Peak Design charging motorcycle mounts out, but they just don't work with my Pixel 7 Pro. It's a finicky bloody phone at the best of times, and I won't have another. But keep an eye on the written reviews as I'm hoping to see that sorted out soon. I bought this Motolug about 10 years ago, and yeah, it's got some rust on it, but it lives outside all the time, and it's the only way I have space for a trailer. I've used it when picking bikes up that I bought, and I can just sling it in the back of the car, build it when I get there, then bring the bike safely home. I've also used it when I used to ride off-road, but it turned out I kept smashing myself up doing that. They are expensive, but if you don't have space to store a trailer, they're brilliant. Also, I love the way it tips up to make it really easy to load a bike on your own. This is properly brilliant British design, and it's made right here in Gloucestershire too. If you want to carry stuff on your bike, these Oxford Atlas straps are brilliant. I always keep a set under the seat or in my top box just in case I need to lug something bulky about. They're really versatile, and yeah, they are a lot like the brilliant rock straps, but they're not quite as stretchy. Still, they work really, really well, and I wouldn't be without them. Some might say that all the new Oxford Atlas luggage range is a bit familiar looking. But even if they have drawn some influence from other products, there's no denying that they've added to it. I wore the Oxford Atlas rucksack to Spain and back and use it a lot. It's got loads of space and I love how you can buy extra liners to form compartments in the main section. My Krieger R30 has been all over the world with me and it's still going strong, but Oxford has done a great job here. It's the same with the bike packs. You can make compartments in there and they work really well with the Atlas straps, which come with hook ends or buckles. Right, let's get back to some bike maintenance. People worry about pressure washers blowing grease out of bearings, and you do need to be careful when you're using them, but that's like any tool. I've had this Kärcher K4 for about 8 years now, and it lets you set the pressure by twiddling the front of the gun. And that means you can drop it down on delicate areas of the bike or push it right up when you're cleaning the drive or something. I use it with snow foam too, and had to buy a new Lance recently after my old one packed up, so I got this Autoglym one and it works great. And some reviews said that the bottle falls off, but it definitely doesn't on mine. And it's easy to mix your chemicals in the wide neck. You can get both of these from Halfords, which is where I bought them, and of course Bike Social members get a discount there. I usually use Clean Your Car's own brand snow foam, but I've been trying a mixture of diluted XCP cleaner and degreaser along with some washing up liquid, and it seems really good for a more deep clean. And before you say it, no, washing up liquid doesn't cause rust. It is a degreaser though, so it can take off like wax off the paintwork and any corrosion protectants. Perhaps you can start to take those off, but when I'm cleaning the bike I tend to be giving it a really thorough clean and I'm putting everything back on it anyway. Check out this video where I tested 69 different cleaning products and spoke to a doctor of corrosive metals. Now some products are really bad on polycarbonate and anodizing, so please do be careful what you use to clean your bike. Now essential are these Vikan 556452 brushes, as they're all plastic and great for getting the really grotty bits clean. I only really use the wide ones, so I wish I could buy those in bulk, just these bits, but they're great on the bikes. Drying it off, a Brühl dryer is a lot like a pet dryer, but it's got proper circuit breakers and it's made for blasting out the water that lies in the nooks and crannies of your engine and bits around your bike. Now blowing it across the switchgear draws moisture out too. I've had this one donkey's years, and yeah, it sounds a bit of a luxury when somebody tries to describe it to you, but it really is useful. Now, I'm well geeky, so I like to put XCP rust blocker and clear coat on my bike with a compressor and paint gun, as it gets right deep inside where you can't reach. I had one from Machine Mart, but it packed up. And then the customer service was terrible, so I hung on until Audi had them on offer, and this is a great one and really good value. Now, I am working on a third corrosion test, and there's lots of new stuff in there, so hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. Right, I'm also in the process of testing some ceramic coatings. They're in the corrosion test, but I also have 2 on the bonnet of my car. 5 months ago, I put Muc-Off ceramic protection kit here, ROKiT premium ceramic here, and Colonite wax here. I'm impressed, especially with the Muc-Off, which is still going very strong. The Colonite and the ROKiT are showing some signs of weakening, though they are at the front of the bonnet, so maybe they're getting the weather a little bit more harsh. But also, I haven't been topping them up at all, I've just been leaving it. So the full pack of the ROKiT is quite dear at 70 quid, but that's with a cleaner and the ceramic coating and Rapid Protect that tops it up. The thing is, you can buy the ceramic spray on its own for 35 quid, and while that does seem a lot for a 500ml spray bowl, it goes a really long way. I've done 2 bikes with this and pulled loads out to do the material compatibility testing, and there's plenty left, at least half a bottle. When it's run out, I'll definitely buy another bottle because I like the way it's so easy to apply. There are other products that are good and easy to apply too, and I've been using this Diowax 4-in-1 Clean and Protect on my helmets. I tested it for material compatibility and it's totally safe on plastics. That's important, as you'd be surprised just how many cleaning products can really bugger up your visor. But this is particularly good on your lid when the weather's horrible. Oh, and S100's waterless wash is great on your helmet and visor too. When you're not riding, and this is what I'm going to be reading over Christmas, I just want to suggest the Moment Collector's book. Round the world adventurer and truly lovely bloke, Sam Manicom's latest brings together 20 inspirational travel writers to really get you in the mood for an epic trip. Now last year I talked about dash cams, but all this year I've been using the Chigee or Chigee AIO5 Lite, which has a dash cam built in. The picture quality is not great, but it's what you expect of a dash cam. The Android Auto or Apple CarPlay though is brilliant, and once you've set it up it's no hassle at all. I set a route on Google Maps for instance when I'm just sat in the house, then when I start the bike it automatically comes up on there. Just keep in mind that unlike a dedicated sat-nav, if your phone dies, this can't do navigation without it. Oh, and it has tyre pressure monitoring as an option, which is cool, but it doesn't warn you when the connection's lost to the sensors. It just stays at the last reading, which I think is a bit dodgy. Still, it is something I use on pretty much every ride, and I've done nearly 8,000 miles with it so far this year. I've got a big video coming up looking at all the navigation options for bikes, so watch out for that. Still on navigation, last time I mentioned Beeline, but since that they've released the awesome Beeline Moto II. I absolutely love this and run it on the motorbike and my push bike. The screen gives really clear directions, but look at it, it's tiny. Whether you're on a weekend blast or just exploring some new roads, it's so unobtrusive but surprisingly powerful. Yeah, it works off your phone, but you don't get annoying notifications, screens changing. You don't get hassled with rain falling on either. You can use it to navigate 2-week tours, but chances are you'll have a Garmin or navigation tablet like this Carpa 8 for that. This pairs to your phone seamlessly and it's really accurate. I think it's particularly brilliant on bikes that you don't want a hulking great GPS sitting on, like my classic ZX6R or something like a Triumph Bonneville or a Royal Enfield. If you really need a full screen sat-nav, then this isn't for you, but it's a brilliant bit of kit, and there's even a secret snake game in there. Check out the description for how to find it. So, for the first time ever, I'm introducing a Gadget of the Year award, and the Beeline Moto II definitely earns that this year.